That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
What's going on, folks? Pete's sitting there staring into the camera. Welcome back to this week's episode of the OneCast. You can see we're a multiplex of screens right now. Pete's at his house. Ben's in the OneCast Fishing Cave, packaging up those snagless jigs, those weedless net heads, those long neck hooks, those soft plastics, and all those things that you need to get your hands on by going to OneCastFishing.com and using the code TheOneCast, all one word, at checkout. Did you guys like that segue? I mean, come on, dude.
That was
pretty good.
perfect.
Yeah, you're
And
getting better.
once you're done at OneCast Fishing, head on over and see our partners at CarolinaWatersNC.com. Carolina Waters has you covered for all your UPF gear needs, from your hats to your neck buffs to your shirts to your gloves and all that Gucci stuff that you need to get your hands on to stay protected from those UV rays. And where else do they need to go, gentlemen?
Yeah, you can use the link in the description. It's posted every week. You can head to our socials and find it. Head to Hobie Eyewear, or you can just go to HobieEyewear.com. But if you use the link in the description, you're going to save some extra coin. And if you go right now, you're going to save an extra 5% off plus free shipping using our code. It's our Memorial Day sale. So make sure to head over to Hobie Eyewear, grab you some of the floating frames. You know, the new, we've been talking about the new Hall floats made of 100% upcycled kayak plastic. Also super excited to give back to the local fishing and outdoor community, I guess, our lake community. June 29th, we're partnering with Carl Jochimson and the Fear My Heart Foundation and Hobie Eyewear and some others for a lake cleanup on Jordan Lake. So keep your eyes open for details on that and come help us clean up Jordan, win some cool prizes, and have a good day on the water. And then, Ben, what's next?
And then after you got all your lures and your UPF and your sunglasses, before your next fishing trip, make sure you go download that Deep Dive app. If you haven't already done so, take advantage of the free trial. Go through all the features that they have. And in fact, I've got it pulled up here because I was curious about the NPFL event going on at Douglas Lake this week. And I know we had talked about several weeks ago, but that lake has come up like 30 feet in 2 weeks. And that's one of the features on there. You can see the lake level, the current, the flow rate, wind effects, high percentage area. So great app, lot of details in there, built on a tremendous amount of data, and their algorithms really can help you dial in on the water. So make sure you go check out the Deep Dive app.
Yep. Last but not least, if you're looking to buy a home or property in Central North Carolina, make sure you hit up our buddy Terry Carpenter, licensed NC Realtor, with Howard Perry in Walston, HPW. So you can hit him up at carpentert@hpw.com. I hope you find your property, home of your dreams. Man, he's blown it up. He's selling houses, buying and selling. So if you're looking and you need a realtor, get with Terry, because he's really he's coming through for his clients here. And I know the housing market, I got a couple people I know that are looking, and the housing market is competitive. So realtor makes a difference, and Terry's going to bust his butt to get you. I also want to give one more shout out to somebody that's not a sponsor of the show. And you know, there's a lot of space in the lure market, and it's another jig manufacturer. Well, I throw the OneCast Fishing snagless most of the time. There's one color I can't get it anymore that kills on our local lakes. So I hit up my buddy Eric Winter with Higher Power Baits to tie up. If you remember the old Carolina Night Craw color that OneCast Fishing used to have, I only have one left, and I needed a few more, and he was able to match that and get it pretty much perfect. So if you need a custom jig, make sure you hit them up. But for all your other jig needs, definitely check out Ben and OneCast Fishing and use that code and save some money. But you know, Ben doesn't make that color anymore, so I bought the last of all the ones that he had, and I'm down to one. And I was doing inventory the other day, and I was like, man, I got to get some more of these bad boys.
Hey, I don't know if you guys can hear it or see it, but like Pete's like publicly shaming Ben for not making
that color anymore. I know
that color anymore.
That
Ben.
one hurt, dude. That one hurt.
Hey,
that one hurt when it went bye.
It's a very.
I might have one here. I don't know.
Oh, you got a few more?
Oh. Yeah, he's saving them for himself, though, Pete.
Well, I mean,
saving them for himself.
If you got a few more, I'll buy them too.
don't think
You know,
I don't think there are any Carolina night crawls. I think they're all pretty much swim jigs. So they're just
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that color is the juice.
it is the juice. You know, hey, I want to throw something out here too. You know, Pete just talked about um, uh, a special shout out. And you know, you don't have to be a partner of the show or a sponsor of the show for us to shout you out. We do that all the time because we're surrounded by a great community. We got a lot of great friends that help us out. And I also want to do the same thing, man. I had an experience today. Well, I didn't have the experience as a father, I did, but my daughter had to take her car in to get her very first oil change and her tires rotated. And I'll tell you a funny story about that here in a minute. Tire rotation. Black's Tire and Auto, Sanford, North Carolina, on Main Street, really took care of my 17-year-old. Made the experience the best they could for her. You know, it's probably very nerve-wracking. I can't even remember that far back taking my vehicle in for the first time to get it serviced and stuff like that. And you know, sometimes some of these places that you go to, they can make you feel stupid about your car, or they'll overcharge you for things that you don't necessarily need. And so I just want to shout out our friends up at Black's Tire and Auto that always take care of us to keep us on the road, keep us fishing, and you know, extending that courtesy and that service to our family members. So thank you so much. But here's the funny part about this. We'll get into fishing here.
Real quick before that, just know they didn't try to not take advantage of Trey's daughter because it's Trey's daughter. They don't do that to people.
They don't do that.
That is the same experience that everybody's going to have. So don't get it twisted thinking that, I know sometimes when I hear those plugs, I'm like, oh, it's just because you know them. No, I've been there and watched them take care of people. And say, hey, you might need this change, but you don't need it right now. So just giving you a heads up instead of telling people they absolutely need stuff. So I just wanted to pivot there for those that are a little skeptical.
100%, Pete. Thanks for shouting that out. And you know, it's everyone's treated equally across the board with Black's Tire and Auto in Sanford, North Carolina. Dude, my daughter thought, she was like, why do I need to get my tires rotated? Don't they rotate when I'm driving? And I'm like, while in fact that is true, let me break it down for you. And so it was just so funny, dude. When I got home today, she was like, I don't understand why my tires need to be rotated, why we're getting charged for that. They rotate when we go down the road. And I'm like, you know, it's one of those moments where you want to be a smart a smart ass, but you're not, because that's an opportunity for learning. And it's like I said, I was like, you don't know what you don't know until someone teaches you, or you learn the hard way, right? Let me teach you about that.
I mean,
so and that's my story.
So we recorded this yesterday, so our episodes have been pretty short turnaround, which is tough because we gotta push it out really quick. But so day one of the NPFL today.
Yep.
We have no idea, obviously, because it's the day before. But hopefully our North Carolina contingent had a day.
I do say, I mean, obviously by the time this drops, we're going to kind of have a feeling, but I think it's going to be a tough tournament.
Well, where are they at, guys?
So they're at Douglas Lake, which is, it's not the Tennessee River. I think it's the French Broad River that dumps into it. I think the French Broad may form the Tennessee at some point.
Yeah, similar fishery as a Tennessee River Lake.
So Douglas Lake out there close to Knoxville. When we go to the Classic, when it's there, we always drive over it. But it's a lake that fluctuates a lot. Up to about 3 weeks ago, it was like 9 feet low. And within the last 3 weeks, it's now I think it was like 6 feet high. And it's been rising like a half a foot. It's 4.5 feet high. It's been rising like 4 or 5 inches a day for the last couple of weeks. So who knows? Fish may have been bedding, then they got flooded out, or maybe they're going to wait, or maybe they finished all that. I just think it's going to be tough to find a consistent bite for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, it's hard to say over there in Knoxville. They may not have been spawned out yet. They may have been trying to, but you know, we've talked to biologists plenty, and when the lake levels are unstable, those fish won't spawn. They'll just hold their eggs. And they talked about, I think it was like 2018, 2019 here, we had a really wet spring where Jordan came up like 14 feet and then fell. Then we got another rain. It came up like 4.5 feet and then fell, and they didn't see fish on beds till like second week of June because of that. So it's hard to say exactly what phase. I don't know a lot about when those fish spawn over there. They're probably a little bit behind, more like a northern. They're just starting to get on the beds up north. So they're far
and there's
enough
smallies
west.
in there too, right?
Yeah, they have small mouth, large mouth. I don't think any spots. I don't think there's spots in there.
I'm not sure. I know some guys, talking to some of the anglers, some of the guys are targeting big smallmouth. But I think you're right, Pete. Those TVA lakes and stuff, they're up in the mountains, man. They stay a little bit cooler than we do over here. So it'll be an interesting derby, to say the least.
I've definitely seen mixed practice pictures. Some guys seem to be catching decent fish. A lot of guys seem to be catching dinks. So I don't know how it's going to go, but day one will definitely tell us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good luck to all those guys, and a 3-day tournament, but and they got to fish on a Saturday this time. Usually they try to get them through the week. They had an off day, which they had an off day, so they're going to fish on Saturdays, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we'll see how it goes down. I did want to mention something before. Are you guys done with the NPFL?
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about the NPFL before we move on. There was supposed to be, so by the time you guys are hearing this, there was supposed to have been a benefit tournament the day before the first day, and which would have been Wednesday. And that was for Chad Poteet. Did anybody see the story about Chad? Yeah. So Chad, was diagnosed recently with ALS, and Chad's an angler. I think he fishes the NPFL too, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately they had to cancel that tournament because of high winds and stuff like that. But I did want to shout out if anybody's looking to support casting for a cure in Chad Poteet, who was recently diagnosed with ALS. Go onto his Facebook page. And there's he's from North Carolinian, man. He's from Mount Airy, and you guys can go to the different fundraisers and stuff like that and help support an angler in need. As everyone knows, ALS, or that's Lou Gehrig's disease, isn't that correct? Yeah. Yep. There's no cure for that. There's maybe some treatments and stuff that can slow down the process of that, but that is really an unfortunate circumstance. We're so sorry to hear that. For Chad, I don't know him personally. I don't know if you guys know him personally, but definitely want to send prayers out to him and his family. And if you're looking to support an angler in need, he's definitely one of them. So, anyways, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, Elite Series just wrapped up on Sunday at the down and dirty, straight up Sabine River for all you on the internet to get mad when I say it that way, which is why I say it that way. And congrats to Pat Schlapper. He's a great guy. I've met him a few times out of Wisconsin. But before we talk too much about the Derby, I just want to say all you forward-facing sonar haters probably need to shut up, because really nobody was using it. Taku Ito finished fourth punching for 4 days. A guy who everybody thought couldn't catch him. Kyoya caught him flipping a worm around. And 20 of the top 50 were scopers. So clearly guys like Trey McKinney, Patrick Walters, Kyoya, not Kyle Welcher, he's not really a scoper. He can do it. But Justin Hamner, those guys went out there and caught fish.
Easton Fothergill
was finished 14th. They can catch them, boys. Like, they're just using the technology that's available. So hopefully it opens some eyes to how capable a lot of these young anglers, the ones that everybody wants to call scopers, are. Remember, man, these dudes are 20 years old. Forward facing haven't been out for 20 years. So while these kids are good with it, they grew up grinding the bank and doing what we all did. They didn't have that tech till maybe, late high school, early college. They took advantage of it. So, but it was, I don't like the Sabine event, and that's well documented. I think it's boring to watch. But there was about a 7-minute segment on Championship Sunday where Pat Schlapper caught 4 of his 5 keepers on a buzzbait, and it was super fun to watch. I mean, they're only like 3-pounders, not giants, but just watching like his emotion and pump, like he knew with each one of those bites when he got him in the boat, like, this is what I need. I think he ended up winning by a little over 2 pounds. beat Patrick Walters out, who was on his heels. Kyoya was right there. Taku was right there. So, well, there's 3 scopers right there that were second, third, and fourth behind Pat. So it's cool. It was a cool last day of the Derby. I didn't really get to watch any of the rest of it. I watched it Sunday for 40 minutes while I waited for Trey to come over so we could go pick up my boat. Big Blue's back, baby.
Oh, Big Blue.
Big Blue's back. And that was really all that I watched. I didn't even watch the weigh. No, I didn't watch the weigh-in.
I didn't, because I was on the road and busy so much the last week.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention at all. All I would do is I'd bring up like the leaderboard at the end of the day, and
that's basically what I was doing.
I think I did watch a couple of highlights yesterday evening. Yeah, muddy and grindy.
I think if anybody know, I mean, our fans, and if you're a new fan of the show, listening to Ben and Pete and myself run our mouths about all these different tournament things and stuff, dude, we're huge fans of the sport. But Ben is a lure manufacturer. Pete works a full-time job, and I fish full-time as I'm retiring. And so most of us don't get the opportunity to just sit down in front of the TV and watch these tournaments. Most of us, if we have the time to do that, I can tell you all 3 of us are on the water.
Yeah,
and we're fishing ourselves, whether or not fun fishing, tournament fishing, benefit charity events, testing out new baits, you name it, or taking guys out, taking veterans out, whatever. So it's not like we're not interested in the tournaments, but when we give you like our versions of it, it's like we got to see that stuff through the replays. I will say this about the Sabine River, and everybody knows, or at least if you're an existing fan of the show, that I like the Sabine River, and it's not because I like seeing people catch 12-inch fish. That is not the reason. It has nothing to do with the size of the fish with the Sabine River. It has everything to do. I think the 2 things that I really love about it is, one, the strategy involved, and sometimes, and it might just be pure luck, but the strategy involved in attacking a massive system like the Sabine. And what do I mean by that? Like watching Christie win that several years ago, and the way that he went about finding the fish. I mean, the dude had to run until he almost ran out of gas. Jacking his boat up in the parking lot of the gas station to maximize the amount of fuel he could get in that. At the time, he was running an express, and then the second thing is it's an opportunity for guys that may have been struggling in the beginning of the year to make an absolute comeback, right? Because one fish truly there, one fish, and we saw this with John Cruz. John shot up the leaderboard with a 4-pounder, 50 spots or something. I don't know. It was ridiculous, right? So that's the other part I like about it. So Schlapper got his very first victory. And it's a great equalizer tournament. So we always talk about the Spawn being like a great equalizer pattern, but this Sabine River is like a great equalizer tournament for those in that Angler of the Year, that bubble, right? This is mid-season or close to, is this mid-season? Is this stop number 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So mid-season for them. So that's the only reason I like the Sabine. Other than that, it's far away. It's really, really hot. I've never been there. And the fish are small. So, but Orange, Texas always shows out and supports bass.
And this year there wasn't nearly as many fish either caught.
Yeah. No.
But that's because the conditions is flooded and all that. Or I mean, Orange, Texas shows out. There's a reason why they always go there.
Yeah.
Did anyone run over to Houston? Do you know if anyone made that?
I think they did in practice, but I don't think anybody did in the Derby because there was so much water that they ran over there and didn't really find anything making it worth that run. So I don't know that anybody ran it in the Derby.
Plus, I don't know how the weather conditions too. I mean, going across the is that Galveston Bay? Yeah.
And I mean, none of us have been there, but if you listen to the commentators on bass, if you're listening to this right now and you're like Sabine River, I never heard of it, or like, why does it have a bunch of small fish? Man, that place gets hammered with inclement weather. from what they say, right? That's the reason why the fish population is not very big, is because it's always getting destroyed by bad weather and stuff like that. At least that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say, but so does Florida and other places too. So
I don't understand why they are so small in that fishery, dude.
It's just
I really don't.
The way it is at that place. Yeah. Did you see Kyle Welcher got stuck?
No.
Kyle Patrick.
Kyle Patrick?
And had to have the airboat pull him out.
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah, Kyle Patrick.
Yeah. I did see that.
Which reminds me to tell you guys a funny Kyle Patrick story off the air.
Okay. But yeah, if you all haven't seen that, go to the socials. But I don't know how long he was stuck out there, but he had to wait for an airboat to get out there because it's like he was on land. I don't know how
that's a tidal fishery, right? True tidal fishery, correct?
Yeah. That's the only thing I think is that the tide dropped and he got stuck there.
Yeah.
That's another part of the strategy, right? So tidal fishery. I mean, incoming tide, outgoing tide. You better have your boat away from the sloppy mud.
You can catch redfish and bass.
Yes.
Gar. And speaking of catching fish, Trey.
Yeah.
About charity events, and everybody's been sitting here looking at this great big giant trophy that you shoved right in front of the camera since you were there. You want to talk about your Saturday a little bit and what we had going on for all of us?
Yeah, man. So we talked about the NPFL. We talked about BASS. Let's talk about Take a Warrior Fishing. Take a Warrior Fishing, man. Beautiful organization, 501c3 that supports the veteran community through fishing, man. Fishing heals is the motto. Pete's holding up the Warrior Fishing Inc. Logo right now. So, last Saturday we were down in Beaufort, North Carolina. It's Beaufort, not Beaufort. It's Beaufort on the South Carolina side. For the Annual Saltwater Slam. Was this the first year, Pete, or second year?
Yeah, it's our first year. Yep.
So this was the inaugural Saltwater Slam, hosted by Take a Warrior Fishing, supported by many, many sponsors to include Vector Force, Rick's Barbecue, several. I mean, I can't name all of them because I don't know all of them. But basically, we had 60-something boats down in Beaufort.
We had 38 boats and 60-some warriors.
Oh, there you go. 38 boats and 60-something warriors. And this was just a big warrior charity tournament. And it was really cool how the organization ran it. So warriors or veterans were paired with a boater or several warriors, depending on that boater's capacity to take however many he or she could. And the way it was structured was it was about a 5-hour tournament. 5-hour tournament. And there was three different groups. So there was called bags, bag 1, bag 2, and bag 3. And then in each bag were certain species of fish that counted towards the overall weight in that bag. So that really gave the boater an opportunity to figure out and talk to, if there was experienced veterans that fished, talk strategy and like, hey, what are we going to go do? What are we going to go target? Right. So we're down there.
And real quick, you do not have to be experienced to fish our event. So don't think
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You're a veteran and you want to fish one of our events. It doesn't matter whether you've ever fished before in your life. So,
which is part of a boater's ability to strategize what he or she's going to put you on, right? So if you've never fished before, it might be easier for you to go target sheep's head or Spanish mackerel, right? So on and so forth. But Pete's right. So anyways, my boater, Ben Willis, fantastic guy, local to the area. We communicated ahead of time and we talked about like what we were going to do. And our game plan to go out, our game plan was to go have fun. That was 100% the intent, was to go out there, share an experience together, share fellowship on the water, share stories, and just have a good day. And it was a beautiful day for that tournament. And anyways, you had those 3 bags, all the Warriors show up, and then Dwayne, being a former or retired Coast Guard guy, had the Coast Guard show up. That was really cool. Local sheriff's department.
We missed Friday. I learned they had the Coast Guard helicopter did a flyby Friday night when they were doing like this social thing.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't mention the social because Pete, myself, and Chelsea didn't make it to the social because we all came in a little bit later. But there is a social the night prior where all the Warriors get to meet the boaters, share a meal and stuff like that. But tournament morning comes. We have the Coast Guard there. We have the local sheriff's department there. And then we had one Warrior that was absolutely badgering the tournament director. Because it was taking too long to blast off. I'm not going to mention any names. Trey Thompson, who the tournament director was, myself. It wasn't the Warrior. It was perpetuated. It was agitated by the boater, Ben, and I know he'll listen to this. But blast off was at 8:00 in the morning, and there's several reasons for that. The secretary in North Carolina, the Secretary of Military and Veterans Affairs. Am I saying that title correctly?
Secretary of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Yep.
Yeah, it's like the assistant to the regional manager or something like that. she came out, super humbling experience to have state representation come out and look at how Take a Warrior Fishing is supporting the veteran community, right? So there are distinguished visitors that come out for a specific purpose to observe this. And she actually got to go out on a boat for a few hours herself and catch some fish. So anyways, I just talked all the logistics, man. National anthem plays, we blast off, we idle off, pretty much like a no wake zone for 800 miles. And Ben and I are like, dude, we're going to send it. We're going to send it. And we're going to go chase redfish around because that's what we wanted to do. And to be honest with you, which I always am anyways, we were both experienced anglers. We didn't show up to these tournament. I didn't show up to this tournament as a veteran, and he didn't show up to this tournament as a boater to fish a tournament. If that makes any sense to anybody, what we showed up for was to have a freaking good time. And you know what? We did. And we made a really long run, and we sight fished for red drum all day long. And we caught 4 fish all day long. And 3 of them were red drum, and 1 of them was a bluefish. So we had redfish, bluefish, and then we needed maybe 1 fish, 2 fish. I don't know, but we had a great time. We ran some of the skinniest water I've ever observed in a boat before. Thank goodness for his jack plate for sure. And it's really cool, man. Like, the salt is just it's just different. It's like everything's built different in there. Everything just wants to eat. You would think you would catch 1 million fish every cast, and if you had a small enough hook, you'd catch a pinfish every time you casted. But it was really cool. We got into our spot. There was only one other boat that ended up showing up there. It was a Majack boat. The guy had a really super sweet rig. He had some Warriors on his boat, and he was going to sight fish for reds as well. They didn't end up running into any. And thank goodness for my Hobie Sightmasters. I'm going to tell you that right now. My Hobie Sightmaster plus lenses were clutch in the morning because we had strong winds out of the southwest and overcast conditions. But just because the saltwater is clear in this area, it made it really, really difficult to target those redfish, right? And unlike a bass, which you're looking for like a black vertical line on their tail, with the red, you're looking for a blue tail, right? Their tails are relatively blue, and they're not just usually sitting there. They're chasing bait and stuff. And the first stop, so basically what we did is we pulled up to our spot. He trimmed all the way up, and he got on that back platform with a giant push pole that's like 800 feet long. And we just pushed ourselves across this flat that went for miles. And that's what we were doing. We were sight fishing for him. So I think about 30 to 40 minutes from when we stopped, we hooked up with the first one. That one ended up being about 5.5 pounds. And then later on in the day, I rigged up a swim bait, an Elastec swim bait, with an underspin on it in a pinfish pattern, and ended up catching like a 6.5 pound bluefish. That was awesome. That fight was absolutely amazing. And then we went for a really long time without a bite. But what we didn't go a long time without was conversation. That was really cool. Shared a lot of experiences and talked fishing, talked life, everything, talked religion, talked faith. And then we ended up towards the end of the day finding a group of redfish in a bay and sight fish those with swim baits as well. And, ended up and this was the cool part about the tournament. It was catch, weigh, and release unless you wanted to keep and they're, the saltwater is pretty stingy about your limits, right? So you could keep, for redfish, you could keep 2 redfish between, 18 and 27 inches. So no less than 18 inches, no more than 27 inches. We ended up keeping 2 of those redfish, throwing them in the cooler. So we brought 2 back to the scale, and then everything else we reported via the scale and taking a picture with a fish with our boat number and sending that back to your bride, Chelsea, who was recording.
And then argued with the weighmaster about the scale weight because it was off by 0.1.
Yeah, it was off by 0.3. But anyhow, yeah, man. So we came back in, and actually it was funny too because I told Ben, I was
and
like,
when I say he argued with me, we were just joking, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I also told everybody he was a Space Force veteran. So
yeah, that was super awesome too. So right before we were getting ready to leave, we ran into those fish. We caught 2 more fish, and Ben goes, "Man," I was like, "Dude, like we have like a 40-minute run back." And it was at that moment after we caught those 2 fish, we had like 18.6 pounds or 18.9 pounds, depending on who you're talking to, of redfish. And Ben was like, "Dude, we actually might have a shot at like winning this tournament in this bag, in this bag category." And I'm like, I don't know anything about redfish as far like, are these 10 pounders or are these 4 pounders? You know what I mean? Like in the bass fishing world, like, I don't know if this is a good bag or not. And he goes, "No, this is a really good bag of fish." In total, we had 25 pounds for all 4 fish, but the blue fish wasn't in the category with the redfish. It was in the category, I think, with the cobia.
Yeah,
Pete, if I'm not,
and
you're not going to beat that 31, 32 pound cobia that somebody weighed in, which was a giant. But anyhow, so Ben goes, "Yeah, dude, like, I think we might have a shot." And I was like, "All right, yeah. I mean, well, if we're going to go, we got to go now." And he goes, "Gosh, I'm selfish." And he's like, "Cause there's all these fish, dude, and they're everywhere." And I was like, "Do you want to go or not?" Cause I would have not gone. We would have been obviously quote unquote disqualified for the tournament or just not been in the running for it. He goes, "Nah, let's go back." So we make that run, dude. And I'm here to tell you, we got it. It was a 2:00. We got in our no wake area by 2:00. We radio called. The radio wasn't working, HF radio or VHF. And so I had to physically call. I was like, "Dude, we're inside." And he's like, "Okay, we can't hear you." And come to find out, Ben has like a 3-inch antenna on his boat, which he doesn't understand is omnidirectional, and it's clearly not. It's underneath the console, so you're not going to get any reception for that. But yeah, man, we got the bag 3 victory, and all of that. The victory doesn't matter. I was actually having this conversation today, and maybe this is a good part of the show to talk about, like maybe the message of this show. I was up at Goatwood Farms today with Chad Erickson, the owner of Goatwood Farms, a sponsor for Seth and Cole and them, doing some work with him. And, we went into his shop and he was showing me like all of his plaques and stuff from his fishing experiences, his BFL Angler of the Year, 2015, a bunch of, first, second, third place finishes and different tournament organizations, cut his teeth on Kentucky Lake. But there wasn't a single time in there that he talked about money. There wasn't a single time that he talked about, "Yeah, I made this much money in this tournament and this much money in this tournament." It wasn't about that, man. It was about like the shared experiences. Like I remember, catching them on a buzzbait with my partner, and he got his buzzbait wrapped around a limb, and it was a nightmare getting the fish out of there, but we finally got it right. And it was enough to take a second place. And I think it's important for all of us, and Pete and Ben, we've talked about it before. Like sometimes these tournaments are like, you fish them, like some guys fish them, I think, for the wrong reasons. And I think a lot of our guys fish them for the right reasons, And so with this benefit tournament, this charity tournament with Take a Warrior Fishing, this trophy doesn't mean anything to me, but it wouldn't have meant anything. But what it does mean to me is I got to share an experience with a guy and have an absolute blast of a day, and appreciate somebody taking me fishing for once, by the way, which is awesome. It's nice being a passenger. That's what that trophy means. It's not that I beat everybody. Has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with I got to share an amazing day on the water, supporting a great cause, garnering new experiences. I've never caught a redfish in my life, dude. It was the first time I ever caught a redfish. So I will remember that until the day I die. And it was a fantastic experience. So
yeah,
sounds like a blast.
That's what it's all about, folks. So you got to hear a veteran's firsthand experience. So come fish with us. Like, look us up on Facebook, join our group, head to warriorfishing.org. You can see all the events that we have coming up. We still got several for this year. You can email info@warriorfishing.com if you want more. You can even, if you're a boater listening, interested in taking your warrior out, and you can be anywhere in the country. We do solo trips. We don't just do these events. The bulk of our getting soldiers out on the water, getting warriors out on the water, active, retired, whatever it may be, is through individual trips. So if you got an empty seat and you want to take a warrior, email me, pete@warriorfishing.org, and I will get you linked up with our guy that matches warriors and boaters, and we'll get you out fishing. So you can do this wherever you are. I know we got listeners all over the country. We've had trips, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New York, Michigan, Florida. I think we've got a few lined up in like Missouri or Mississippi, somewhere out that way. So Texas, we have some folks that have reached out. So we're trying to get them going in all 50 states. So if you're in any of the state, even if I listed it, even here in North Carolina, hit me up. Let's get some more warriors on the water. I want to give a special shout out. I doubt she'll listen to Jocelyn Millette, who Trey was talking about. She's the secretary of the North Carolina Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, appointed by our governor, our governor, Josh Stein, appointed her to that position. And, I am not a veteran, but I got to spend probably 30 minutes while we were waiting for boats to come in to weigh in, just talking to her. Clearly, I have a deep connection with our local veteran community and active duty, with folks that I've surrounded myself with, and support this lady, this woman, however you can, our secretary, because she wants to do a lot of good for our veterans. She's very mission focused. That was my number one takeaway. She understands what she was brought in to do, and what she wants to do, and she's going to do everything she can to help our active duty and veterans get the care, get more money for their sacrifices to the country, of their bodies, minds, all of that. So definitely support her any way you can. Support 501c3s like us by participating in our events, donating if you're able, even if it's old tackle, we'll take it. We can give it to veterans. So yeah, man, it was awesome. Our first saltwater event was a huge success. Looking forward to second annual Saltwater Slam next year. Details to follow. It'll be in May probably again, because we'll probably do our Warrior Clash, which is our bass tournament, in April. And then we'll do our saltwater event in May, or we'll do our saltwater event in April and our bass tournament in May. We might flip it next year. But either way, it'll be April, May time frame. The weather's good. The fishing's good. And we want to continue to get larger with this. So keep your eyes open for what's to come. And you can go look at all our social posts and see all the sponsors. I can't even list them all.
The community, our community page is riddled with it. So you can see everything on our community page.
It is. And shout out to Beaufort, man. They really showed out. We had a lot of folks just coming through that stopped and bought raffle tickets and asked what we were doing. And Town Marine, Creek Marina, where we held it, Marina, where we held it. they said they have a ton of tournaments out of there, and they thought ours was the most organized they've ever seen, which is scary to me because I felt like it was a goat roping. But it was the first time doing a saltwater one, so some logistics we learned and some things we'll do a little different. But yeah, we've got so many positive reviews. Trey just gave one, so yeah, I hope y'all can come fish with us if you can.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Ben. You've obviously saltwater fished. You fished in Puerto Rico. Well, you fished in Puerto Rico. Oh,
Yeah,
that was like
That was the peacock.
okay. So you haven't saltwater fished.
So the only thing I've done, I was little out at Lejeune, we'd fish for flounder. We'd go catch shrimp, cast net, and then fish for flounder. Then I've done offshore one time. So I went snapper fishing, like in the Gulf.
Okay.
Well, no, off Savannah. But
so
yeah.
Ben, so this is for everyone listening. We're gonna challenge Ben right here. If he's here and available, we definitely want Ben to sign up as a warrior for the second season Saltwater Slam, because I think you'd absolutely have a blast, dude.
Oh no, that's the plan. I'm down.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
As you guys know, next year I won't have to be going up to New England.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Bringing the dogs back and stuff. So
Ben's gonna be back in. He's gonna be back in the saddle. He don't have to geo-bachelor it, and he's gonna be cranking out that tackle. But he's gonna be doing a lot more fishing. Pete has fished saltwater a number of times. Last year, him and Chelsea went with Captain Dana.
Taberna. Yeah, who we were just on a couple episodes ago.
So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back, rewind a couple episodes, and listen to Captain Dana talk about chasing his favorite species of fish, which I think are speckled trout, though. He's a Neuse River guy.
He's a trout and redfish guy.
He's a trout and redfish guy.
Trout's his thing. He likes chasing them big old trout.
And, and that was, I saw those pictures that they went what the locals consider old drum fishing, right? You guys caught like 40, 50 inchers, like giant redfish.
One I caught measured like 52 or something.
Yeah, that's a
Chelsea's
giant.
Like 48. Yeah, they look like a daggum dinosaur.
Yeah, they do. But, Ben, my boater, was breaking that stuff down. Well, anyways, let me rewind. I'm here to tell you, I love bass fishing. And I absolutely just am ate up with it. But it's hard. You can't compare bass. Not that one's better than the other. They're very unique experiences. But hooking into a 5.5 to 7.5 pound red drum on a spinning rod with braid screaming as it's ripping through 18 inches of water, there's no other experience like it, right? And then a bluefish fight's even different. I thought I had a shark. I was like, it's a shark. He goes, there's no sharks up here. I was like, if I can taste salt in my mouth, there's probably a shark around here. You know what I mean? Like, everything's scary. He had to get out of the boat and push the boat because we were beached. I was like, not me. I'm not kidding now. But it's just
you're probably good if you're beaching a boat from
I don't know, man. There's jellyfish and sea urchins and everything else has teeth. I was like, yo, what fish can I lip if I catch it? And he's like, or what fish can't I lip? And he goes, let me tell you the fish you can lip. And he goes, that's a redfish. Don't lip anything else. He's like, you bass fishermen are all the same. But it was such a cool experience. So I hope everybody that enjoys the outdoors and enjoys fishing can experience that, man. And if you want to, you can hit up Captain Dana because he guides and he'll take people out, right? And there's a lot of people down there. But if you want to if you're a veteran, like Pete said, just sign up, go to the website.
Like I said, go to the website because we get a ton of trips from saltwater guys that want to just take warriors all through the year. So if you join the website and Facebook page, those opportunities come up. And we're working on, I'll get an update next board meeting, but we got an app coming that is sort of like Tinder. We've had it designed. I say that. But we're going to use that to match boaters and warriors. So like I'll go on there and say, hey, I got an open seat on Jordan Lake Saturday morning. And that'll post. And then warriors will be able to go on there and click, like, swipe yes, I want that trip, and it'll connect us, and we'll go spend a day on the water fishing. So we're trying to streamline it and make it easier.
So you have a fish finder?
Yeah, we have fish finder. We can't call it plenty of fish because that one's taken.
Yeah, that one's already taken.
That is a cesspool.
You know what else is cool about the salt, dude? Is it's simple, right? Like, all of us, we have 400 rods in our boat. We got top water, we got mid water range, we got dragon baits, we got glide baits. We got so much stuff, so much tackle. And then you get in some of these guys' boat and it's like, yeah, bro, got a swim bait, got a peanut, and got a popping cork.
They got
Pretty simple.
3 spinning rods.
Yeah, 3 spinning rods. Like
we'll catch anything in this water with these.
Dude, seriously, I'm like, this is it? Yep. And he's like, that's all you need. And I'm like, no forward-facing sonar, no sonar. I mean, he had one at –
You're going to work in 18 inches.
Yeah. And it was just like, put your Hobies on, stay protected with your Carolina Waters gear. And in fact, actually, Ben remembers this. I caught a speckled trout one time, and I caught it when Ben first came out with the OneCast Fishing snagless bladed jig.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
remember I called you.
Mm-hmm.
I caught it down in Southport with my buddy Dave, who no longer has a boat. That's an unfortunate thing. We were down there in his Hughes boat, and I caught a freaking speckled trout with a green. It was a sunfish colored OneCast Fishing snagless bladed jig. So get your hands on the OneCast snagless bladed jig.
We sold
them around
a bunch at like the Raleigh show to some guys that they just take the skirts off and then they put a big swim bait or something on. But if you remember, Ben, we get a lot of those salt guys that come through.
Actually,
I like to throw them. So
another thing they'll do too. Remember, we had what was it like that? You had like a box of jig heads or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, the Oops jigs.
Yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll use this for cut bait and fiddler crabs, catching sheep's head and stuff.
Yeah,
so they'll just because they lose so many of them down there too. So, but yeah, man, what an awesome experience. Fishing is still fishing, bass fishing, all fishing and stuff is full fledged. But something else that's we're going to get our good buddy Corey Dreyer to come on here and talk some safety stuff with personal flotation devices. But, Memorial Day is coming up here real soon. It's already happening. Huh?
This weekend.
This Monday. This Monday. Man, be safe on the water. Like we've had, and I say we as a community have had, a number of incidents already happen at the national level of bass fishing, but they're happening all over. Wake boats or pleasure boaters are getting out to enjoy the summer. The days are a lot longer. This is the time when, it is what it is. A lot of inexperienced people are on the water. There's a lot of alcohol involved. There's a lot of inexperienced drivers. There's a lot of underage things. Like there's all sorts of stuff going on. And man, I've been on the water quite frequently just because it's been so nice. And almost every single time I see something going on where it's an issue, whether or not when I was at Falls the other day, I had one awesome day on Falls. And then there was a group of people putting in, and they probably had 14 people on a boat with a 90 horse engine, right? Way over capacity. Definitely most likely did not have enough PFDs for everybody. And most of these people don't run graphs with map cards and stuff like that and know where all the hazards are at. And they're definitely not paying attention. And there's a lot of alcohol involved. I just want to say that, man, because there's been a number of lives already lost this year. And I'd hate to see that happen to anybody. So make sure you keep your head on a swivel, wear your personal flotation device, have all that equipment that's required on your boat for safety. Let somebody know you're going out on the water, even if you're going out by yourself, so they have accountability of where you're at, and continue fishing along with us. So that's all I got.
Yeah, our tournament season's wrapping up. We'll do a recap on us, but we're I think like 7th in points.
Do you have one this weekend or next?
Next weekend we wrap it up. So we got our last tournament, regular season tournament of the year next weekend on Gaston. So looking forward to that. And then
I drove over Gaston Monday.
Yeah, then I'll live at the river for 3 months. So
well, you got your boat back, so
yeah,
I'm going to put some scratches in it.
I'm going to the river on Monday. I'm going to dent it up right off the rip. So
when I was driving up to DC on Thursday, that was right after we had all that rain.
Mhm.
I mean, every river was just nasty.
Really?
I mean, just rolling like mud.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
every
the cool thing right now, certain lakes are definitely washed out a little bit. But this time of year is when you can find fish on the bank and offshore, right?
Trey, you want to go to the river with me on Monday?
Yeah, probably. So,
so,
but this is the time of year when you really can do what you want to do. You can go throw a frog in the morning, buzzbait in the morning, top water, whatever. You can go flip.
Yeah, we're still well in the pre-spawn or post-spawn. I mean,
yeah.
Still got lots of fish shallow.
Yep, lots of fish are shallow, but you can also go and you have the chance of finding them offshore and absolutely mashing them in the face. And that happened to me the other day. And yes, most of it was on a jig head minnow, targeting them with forward fishing sonar because I was going out there practicing. Hey, piece of technology that I can utilize. I'm going to leverage every single system I have until it's no longer available for me, which is the last thing I wanted to bring up, right? As we start winding down here in North Carolina for 2026, the Five Alive team trail has a no forward-facing sonar team trail.
Yep.
And I'll read verbatim. They're announcing the startup of the Five Alive No FFS team trail in 2026. It's going to be a 5 tournament trail with a points championship. It's also going to be part of a 2-day championship that is a $7,000 payout. It'll be a minimum of 3 different lakes and possibly more. You do not have to remove your transducer or your unit. You unplug your transducer from the back of the unit, and then the plug-in will be placed in a lockbox, just like they're doing for the NPFL, just like they're doing for Major League Fishing, different formats within MLF. It'll also involve Humminbird 360, though. The same thing will be done for your 360 transducer, so you can't use 360 or any sort of forward-facing sonar live technology. So if you are in the North Carolina area, in the Piedmont region or wherever.
I do want to say there's one update to that.
Oh, is there?
That was the original post on May 12th. On May 14th, they updated it. So the original, they were combined the 2 team trails for the championship, and they had so much interest right off the rip that it is a $10,000 guaranteed 2-day championship just with no forward-facing sonar.
Okay.
So $10,000 guaranteed 2-day championship. Let me see. You can forward face in 360 during practice, but you have to lock them out. I was trying to see if they talked any more about lakes, but they didn't. So,
yeah,
just so y'all know, they are going to do a $10,000 champ guaranteed 2026 no forward facing trail.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this kind of stuff, guys. I don't think it's because everybody believes forward-facing sonar is bad. Or maybe it is. But what I think it is it's to provide an opportunity for those who want to compete without using that technology.
And not have to use it or try to compete against it. Yeah.
Right. Because everybody, most people that have the technology that have learned it, if anybody has the technology that's learned it like we have and thinks that it doesn't provide a competitive advantage over somebody who doesn't use it or doesn't have it, like that, you're lying to yourself. Like it absolutely does, right? That's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. It doesn't mean you're going to catch them all the time with it, but it's, excuse me, sorry. It's a piece of technology, man, that just, it does give you a competitive advantage. And I
think when we talked to Matt Heron, he said it best. Like typically when you're fishing, you may know there's fish there, but you don't know for sure if you're throwing to them. Like when you side scan or down imaging, with forward facing, 100% of the casts you make are at a fish.
That's right.
So it just increases your odds and allows you to see how the fish react.
Doesn't mean you're casting at a bass though.
No, it doesn't. And again, we're not not anti the technology, but you are starting to see a lot of momentum towards having trails not use it so that guys that don't want to use it don't have to.
That's right. Catering to a different target audience.
My tone has changed on it. I used to think those guys just didn't want to learn it, but I've learned it, and I now understand also why guys don't want to fish against it.
I agree. Yep.
So it's will be interesting to see the participation in that. I really want to see how many boats they get. Trey and I talked about maybe fishing a couple of them, just seeing what lakes we're on and stuff. But definitely interesting to see how that goes. Again, to Trey's point, I think we're going to see more of it. Yeah, I love the technology. Love the technology, but totally get why in competition people are so hell bent against it.
I'll tell you this, and then I'll shut my mouth. For this 2025 Fishers and Men season, there has been one lake where forward-facing sonar was turned on my boat, but it wasn't used to target the fish. It was just used to see. Well, yes, it was. Are the fish there or not? Right. It wasn't trying to target an individual fish, but to find them. Right. Are they there or are they not there? Because if they're not there, then we're pulling trolling motor and we're leaving. But other than that, like it's depending on the tournament trails that you fish. But I'll tell you this: we have seen forward-facing sonar this year. We have seen that tool make some people people are beating us. They're beating us because they're using the technology. We could have used it too, but we chose to fish the way we wanted to fish. There have been some fish catches that if you didn't have the technology, it wouldn't have happened. Most likely would not have happened. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it at all. Totally not. So I think with Five Alive doing what they're doing and probably some other tournament organizations, I think it's a great way for guys to be like, let me see how I stack up against this field. Right. Yep. Even if I do have the technology, let me see if I can bring because you still have to have instincts, even when you're using forward facing sonar. I don't care what anybody says. You have to understand fish behavior. You have to understand seasonal patterns. You have to understand that you're even casting at a bass. You have to understand all those things. It just expedites the process and makes it a little bit higher probability that you're casting at a bass. That's it. So, man. Sorry, Ben's sitting there. He's like, I'm just listening to you guys run your mouths and stuff. But Ben, what you got before we wrap up on this deal? What do you think about the Five Alive doing the North Forward facing deal?
Well, I think if you're considering fishing that one trail next year, you need to yank forward facing sonar off your boat, and you need to be fishing every single no forward facing sonar trail.
That's true.
Because you've got 6 months, 8 months that you could really dial back in and not right. And it would force you to.
I know.
But I know. Like right now, like you go out at Harris or something, and you try not to use it, but where you can go catch fish.
You're dang right. Yeah.
And put them in the boat.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut my transducer cable. Please don't do that. It costs way too much. I agree with you. And what Ben's talking about is, there's part of me that has thought about applying for the National Professional Fishing League, and then there's part of me that's thought about applying and trying to get into the BASS Opens in one of the divisions, right? And
you don't have to apply to that. You just got to pay your money. You'll be fine.
Well, there's some of them have wait lists and stuff, but
they didn't this year. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
there's invitationals too.
I haven't been invited to the invitationals though.
Just fish one BFL. They'll invite you because they can't fill that roster either. But Ben's right? Like if I was really looking at, applying for the NPFL and not saying I'd get in or anything, but I need $30-something thousand at least. So I need $60,000. But B, like I would be doing myself a huge disservice by fishing around here all the time with forward facing sonar technology that's so easy to use to help me catch fish. Like I would do myself a huge disservice with that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, don't even put me in the same sentence as him.
Trey did a lot of other things for a lot of years when those boys were on boats.
Yep.
And
you could beat Patrick Walters in a foot race. That's all.
No.
I promise you could take him in a foot race.
Yeah, I'll beat him at an arm wrestling contest. I guarantee you that. But yeah, man, yeah, you're right. You're right, Ben. The opens look really, look good too, and it's not because I can use Ford fishing sonar in the opens. It's because it's a hell of a lot cheaper
And you can fish
than
classic if you win one.
Yeah, you win one. It's only $8,000 if you fish 4 tournaments versus 30, 35, 40,000, depending on where else you're fishing. And we all love our boys at the NPFL, but let's be honest, man, that's expensive. It's expensive to fish that, and it's expensive to fish in general the way we like to fish.
It'll be interesting to see the schedule for the opens.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I just think it's cool. Huh?
Also, there's going to be some significant changes to technology over in that organization next year from what I'm hearing. So we'll see if that comes to light, but it sounds like there's going to be some changes. So who knows if you're going to be able to use it next year? Yeah,
who knows, man? But all I know is we all love fishing. We all love the community of fishing. We're all trying to continue to grow it. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the year and going out and maintaining this awesome suntan that I have.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't have anything else that I wanted to talk. I was just thinking while I was talking. I don't think I have anything else that I had planned on talking about.
Nope, I'm good on my end, guys.
Appreciate everybody jumping on, everybody listening, all the support that we've had. Make sure you check out all the organizations and companies that we talk about because they are the ones that make this possible. Make sure you get them Nighthawks because, you've got to have them.
You got to have them.
If you want to catch them, you better have some in the boat. And, appreciate y'all and helping us continue to grow a culture of anglers, helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.